Hey guys, and welcome to another video. In order to sort things out and arrange each video in the right playlist, I've created a new playlist named Nostalgia, dedicated to games that were released around or before year 2000. Yet, we still love and play these games even today. And for many, they are much more enjoyable than many modern games. So, if you're interested, check that playlist from time to time. In today's video, we're going back in history to the year 2002, the time when many legendary and iconic games were released, like Generals and Red Alert 2. It's true that they have had several improvements, and you can find Red Alert 3 and maybe 4 in the future, but most players, myself included, still consider Red Alert 2 as the best game in this family. But today, we are going even deeper, to the Middle Ages. And yes, you heard me well, Middle Ages. Yes, they had no PCs and consoles, but they had Stronghold Crusaders 2, which is our topic for today's video. So grab a beer or ale if you want, since we are going back to Middle Ages, and let's go. If you ask any strategy player, excluding those who like magic and witches, what are the elements of a good strategy game, the answers would likely be around the following: easy to learn, difficult to master, good graphics, compared to the time when it was released, some historical facts, and finally, a good economical system to get resources and build what has to be built. Stronghold had all these factors together. The game had an easy system, just right and left clicks, only one level of zoom in and out. It would take you just a few seconds to learn the basics, which, once learned, you are good to play and enjoy the game. Simply because the system itself is simple and there are no hidden or complex moves, just a couple of moves and you are all set. The first Stronghold was about the life in Europe in the Middle Ages, the wars between lords to gain land and expand the empire or the kingdom, with some real historical characters. Yes, there was a couple of imaginary characters, but they represented other kingdoms, or let's say the bad guys. Later, in the second release of the game, Stronghold became Stronghold Crusader. You got it from the name. The war moved to the Holy Land, the Middle East, and naturally, the green land turned into a mix of green grass and yellow desert sand. There were more characters, more castle designs, and more missions, plus more historical characters like Saladin and Richard Lionheart. There was as well a chance to play historical battles like the Siege of Damascus and Odysseia, when you don't only play the battle itself, but you have, before you do that, play several missions to prepare your army and lead it to the battlefield. And in order to do that, you've got to provide it with food and, number one priority, weapons. All of which was not free. You needed cash. Speaking of cash, the economical system was a revolutionary one in that era. You had to keep your citizens happy, so they keep coming to your town and you recruit them into the army. You had, as well, to keep farmers and workers happy, so they provide your kingdom with food and raw materials which can later be manufactured into weapons for several uses: archers, swordsmen, cavalry, and many other units. Let's take an example, and that's only one example of many others. Making bread. First, you need to build your wheat farm in the right place. You couldn't just place it anywhere on the map, only where the soil was good. Then, farmers would take wheat to mills where it's turned into flour, which, after that, is carried to bakeries, and of course, each step ends in the stockpile. The product is taken to a warehouse or a stockpile. The last step is when the baker takes the bread to the granary where people can consume it. That was just an example of the game's system. When talking about other products, you need not less than 3 hours. The more types of food you have in your granary, the happier your people are. Making weapons and other types of food is no different. But you can try the game for yourself and see. Making money comes from selling products or collecting taxes, but I like the first option more. So we are talking about a complex and realistic system of a game that was released more than 20 years ago. And even today, many of these mechanics are still adapted in modern strategy games. Does that mean it was all perfect and nothing was wrong? No, no game is perfect, and this game is no exception. One of the things which I really didn't like was the wood system. You could see trees scattered all over the map, but with your wood cutters, you'll end up with no trees and so no woods. And as a result, the only way to get wood and build more houses or buildings, or to make arrows and spears, would be buying from the market. So trees don't grow again. While taking stones and iron never ends, even if you destroy the whole mountain. Also animals. Animals in some missions would respawn, but not during all missions. Again, if you are playing a map, don't be surprised if you run out of animals and your hunters can no longer find them. And then you'll run out of meat. And so you'll have to buy the meat again, just like with the wood, from the market. In some other missions, animals respawn and you can still provide your people with meat. Yet, that really didn't bother our enjoyment of the game. But it would be a good touch, keep in mind these two small points. Once more, no game is perfect. And don't forget, we are talking about a game that was released in 2002. And one more last thing, the music. Oh man, the music. It's from another planet. I don't have the words to describe the music, so you'd better look for it and listen to it. It's available on YouTube. This game has been a good opportunity for those who want to experience the war away from nuclear weapons and firearm, using different army units. Each unit has its own cons and pros. It's up to you, as a lord, to try and find out yourself, as you keep your eyes at the same time at other players, trying to make an alliance by sending them cash and raw materials, or turning them into enemies and then taking their lands, and of course, protecting your castle by building walls. For me, Gaza 3 was the masterpiece of strategy games during the 90s. Stronghold Crusader 2 was the masterpiece of the 2000s. There was a Stronghold Crusader 3, but I didn't like it, and I felt like 9% of the games that tried to modernize their system, it felt like it lost its essence. And that's a very personal opinion. In 2024, this year I mean, there is a remaster of Stronghold, not Stronghold Crusader, which looks good, but I would say with the original one, I like the original one more. But maybe in the future we can play a remaster or even a remake of not only Stronghold, but Stronghold Crusader. So we can see our favorite characters in a better image. And who knows, we may even see new characters. If you're a type of player who likes such games and still haven't played it, you better give it a try, and I'm sure you'll fall in love with it. If you have already played this game, share what you think of it in the comments, and let me know if you agree with my review or not. Or, if you have something which I haven't mentioned, you can also share it. And that marks the end of this video. Please don't hesitate to leave a like or join the channel if you like what you saw. Thank you very much for watching or reaching this far, and see you again in another video.